What's going on, everyone? Dalt here with VC Parts in the Scrap Life Garage. Welcome back to the channel, and we're going to be messing with the FD again today. We're going to be making some more progress. You saw in the last video that the motor with the blower is in, transmission is mounted up, so we're going to be working on getting the hood clearance. We need to get the headers back on. The headers were on the car previously. I know they fit. We don't need to do anything with that. We just need to get them bolted up to get the motor sealed up, and then we have a couple other things right over here. Headers are in that box right there, and then we also have some of the accessory drive that I need to get bolted up. Based on what I've seen, even with the high mount alternator, we're not going to have any hood clearance issues with that. We're going to get the intake manifold put back on. I have the throttle body tucked in over there, and if we have time, we are even going to maybe try to mess around with the rear differential, which I haven't really talked about yet. We got Cobra IRSs for it. Excuse me, not Cobra. We have Explorer IRSs for it. Used Cobras before. The Explorers are the 28 spline. A little bit less strong, but more than strong enough for what we're going to be doing here. So let's go ahead and dive in. So in order for us to run the supercharger on this car, because of how high it sits, we're going to have to modify the hood. And this factory hood is not the prettiest. It may have been in a slight accident at some point. It has some warping, some pieces that are like separating from the understructure, things along those lines. It's already been cut to clear the throttle body, which is what you have to do on these hoods for the LS swap. So I don't really feel too bad about cutting up this hood, even though it's a OEM hood, and you know, they're harder and harder to come by. But for me, like I said, it's not going to break my heart to cut this up. So I already have it marked here, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of use the existing cuts, come around here, and the first thing we're going to do is just remove the structure, the understructure, to then get the supercharger or the hood to shut even further down onto the supercharger, and then we'll figure out where we actually need to cut on the hood, because it's entirely possible that this could be hitting one of the rear sections before the actual housing is hitting and things along those lines. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out, get the hood back onto the car, and then figure out where we need to go from there. All right, so now that we have the under support cut out of the way, this one I think is actually going to have to get cut further back there. That's why that mark is there, because it kind of goes all the way back to here. So we'll go ahead and get that out of the way, just cleared back, and that should kind of take care of the underside here, and then we're going to actually have to start cutting. And you can see that I have kind of this oval shape marked, which is this area right here, which is going to be what we run into first. So we're going to kind of get that cut, let it sit down a little further, and then see like what we run into back here to then hopefully get whatever shape we need, so it's a real nice clean cut. So we're just going to kind of start small and keep working bigger until we get the total shape that we need. So what we did here is we marked the outside perimeter. We drilled 4 holes, and then basically we're just going to connect the dots. That way we have some nice smooth edges around the side. All right, so with this on here, you can see we got our initial cut made. You can see how it's sticking out, okay? And ultimately, this here is, I think, going to be our shape. You can see that's the next spot that we're hitting. That's also going to be hitting there, so we need to get a little bit of clearance there. And then when you move further back, you can see that this part of the housing right here is going to be the next area. This stuff might be far enough towards the middle of the hood, because the middle of the hood actually slopes up. So that might be far enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep coming out just a little bit here, and we're going to do some notches back into here, and then maybe take as little of that out as possible to get it to clear. But we are moving in the right direction. We're a whole lot closer to closing.
stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, we got a couple of like.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this whole area looks okay in there. So we're
that goes down.
we're kind of moving in the right direction. That corner's probably gonna have to get rounded off. Looks like that there maybe needs to be a little bit wide. Every time I try and video, man, this guy is dropping rims in the background.
Honestly, I watched him wait to do that until you were recording.
Did you give him the signal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gave him a thumbs up.
All right, we're getting close though. Let's take a step back here. It's not absolutely awful. I'm not hating it by any stretch of the imagination.
The hell is that?
It's only a little bit out. Hold on. Let me get on the little piece of sandpaper here.
Sandpaper?
You have to hold it for sandpaper?
This guy.
Yeah, who's he? Hey, grab some sandpaper for this peeling clear coat too.
All right, moment of truth. Oh, hold on. Oh, yep, you still recording? All right, let's see.
Nope.
Oh, it's close. Yeah, so that needs to go a little more. That I think is pretty darn tight. That should probably be fine. Maybe a little bit more. That all looks like that might have enough. That looks fine. That looks
Yeah, it's
fine.
hit the turbo right there.
Yep, just right there.
Hitting the spoolie boy.
It's a spinny boy.
Spinny boy, sorry. Is that what you call?
Remember,
Lower.
we had this discussion the other day. It can't be a spoolie boy.
So we're gonna call it a spinny boy?
It's a spinny boy.
Are we starting that, or is that a thing already, or
I'm not sure. We're gonna take it as we came up with that though.
the spinny boy?
Yep, and it's being recorded, so we are
Yeah.
the official starters of the spinny boy.
Actually, funny enough, my little out of the line cut there might turn out to be, because I think this needs a little bit more right here. So that goes like that, and then I feel like that might be the last cut. I think all that is okay.
I'd be a little worried about like that vibrating.
Well, I'm gonna.
Well, so again,
do
you still
something.
got to come down. So that's probably gonna touch once this clears. Yeah, go ahead. Wipe all that metal
Yeah.
into your paint.
Yeah, just wipe it off.
Yeah.
One more grab here.
This is a process. You don't just drill holes into your hood and have your turbos coming out perfect. You got to do it right.
Supercharger, right?
Turbo, spoolie boy, spinny boy, whatever the block it is.
Yeah, the spinny boy.
Spinny boy. Let's get to cutting.
Moment of truth, round 2.
4?
I think it's like 4.
No, the other ones I knew it wasn't gonna clear.
Yeah.
Okay, so
still
it's
here.
hitting now. It's hitting something really solid somewhere.
It's right here.
No, because I
Because
can
look, you can see
Yeah,
it.
he's right.
It's hitting.
That's not
It's
it.
hitting. Yeah,
This
it's
is still flexing.
yeah. It's hitting something. It's hitting something more solid. Maybe right there actually. Yeah, it's that's what it is.
Man, I think we need to go back in the video and say like, I pointed that out, didn't I?
So the question
Did I
is-
point it out, Tyler? Yeah. We seen that tab. Needs to go.
So the question is,
Swoop.
because that all looks okay. This I think maybe needs a little bit more. You're not wrong.
I think
there.
you should just go shroop, shroop, call it a day.
Yeah, I mean that might be the
It looks
easiest
so
thing.
fancy though.
I was gonna say.
I mean, it does
But-
look cool.
You would have to bring this out like a good turn.
Yeah.
The further you get down, the wider the blower gets. So
Yeah.
to be honest, as you get closer,
Well,
you
no,
might
it
get
actually starts to kind of like taper in.
No, no.
Oh no, actually you're right. Actually, the further you get
That's the
down.
outlet side too.
All right, so
There goes the fancy little tab.
yeah, after I just bent it and everything.
It looked so good.
Bend it up instead.
He's slamming hard enough for it.
Clearance that bitch. It'll be alright.
Alright, so now we gotta figure out what we're doing there. Again, the easy thing would be to
Oh no. It almost looks like it's here.
no, it's definitely here first.
It's
but-
not. I mean,
Nah, that still has room. I can see that has
Okay.
room. It's just how much I want to dick around with it, because in theory, like I said, you could just cut that edge off. like that.
Yeah. And I mean, just make that a nice round corner all the way to the top.
And like this will just. Something like that. That gets around that. I think that'll be fine. And then this might have to just go a little bit further back, but it's not the end of the world.
Round 5.
5, is that what we're at now? 5?
Sure, I got. Wait, you keep putting that there like it's you doing anything.
It's the hood prop. It's functional.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That hole looks better too. Still. So yeah, just kind of like.
So now though, I think that we are really close to being clear on the supercharger. Oh, you know what? Actually, dang it.
It's still
this thing's hitting right here.
Is it all the way back here?
No, this is hitting right here.
Oh,
That little
the reinforcement?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that back flush.
That's a nice straight line.
I'm gonna cut it with a whiz wheel.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cut it with a whiz wheel. It's a straight disc. Yeah, like you said, if anything, it might be right there.
Yeah, it almost looks like if you just came up straight.
Hold on. And you're gonna be able to like read the tag
How
when
badass
the hood's shut. You know, somebody like asks me what blower it is, and I'm like trying to play Street Racer games with them or something like that. I'm not gonna be able to.
You just write a different number on there.
Yeah, because they're gonna be like, oh no, it says right there what blower it is. So that is going to be kind of like right on it, but the only way I'm getting out of that is just like that has some shape like that.
I know this is your car, but to me it looks better with the rounded edges versus the 90s.
No, I think so
don't
too.
know.
I'm just marking
Yeah.
that just for the
Okay.
time being. Although it is kind of funny too, because like when you really like look at it, this thing, like the edge of the blower is literally, yeah, it's basically where that line is. So then it's like, all right, dude, are you better off just
clearing the whole blower?
yeah, you know
or
what I mean?
just-
Like
yeah.
I started small and everything, but are you better off just bringing this
all the way down and around.
like this, something like that?
And
I don't really
and
like
maybe-
that big opening. But,
Yeah, I mean it is kind of.
but yes, if you did it that way, then you'd really clear almost everything, which might be the way to go at this point.
I mean, even if kind of like
Well, I'll
rounded
round. That'll be. I'll
Okay.
drill a hole there, so that'll do the same thing. We'll
Okay.
round that. But I think that's going to be like the final. I think all of that. So if I do that though, this thing is, well, that's going to be right about. That's going to be right about where I'm cutting. So we'll make sure that that's not going to be an issue. The only other thing I could do is maybe like do like a tapered cut for it. Okay.
Whoa!
Yeah, I told Lee to look forward to this.
Whoa!
All right, so moment of truth, I think for the last time. I think this is the final cut. I think that we have everything where we need it to be. Oh yeah, looks pretty good. All right, hold on. Let me get the bumper or the hood latched. And I think we are good to go. All righty. So we ended up notching out this corner a little bit further. You can see kind of actually, I think that mark is where it was hitting. So we ended up notching that a little bit further. I think the only spot that I'm not overly thrilled about is this one right here. I'd really love for that to be a little bit tighter, but I mean, you're really talking about maybe a ½ inch. We could have got that just in a little bit further. It looks like that is really tight, but is not on it right now, although we can get a little bit of flex, so we might either have to reinforce the outside here, or we might just have to come out just a little bit wider on it. But overall, I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. So it's you know, a blower sticking out the hood. It's about as subtle as that can be, but it's not an overly huge cut in the hood. And normally I'm not really a fan of this. I mean, there's a couple cars floating around that I've seen this on. One of them, you know, very famous on the internet here, but, you know, unlike that car, this car's actually going to be raced. So this one's actually going to be put to the test and not just sit in a parking lot and rev its motor constantly. So I think that it will grow on me, being that it's, you know, actually functional, and there's a reason that it's out the hood, because it's actually going to make some power. So let's see what else we can dive into here. All right, time to unbox the headers. We're going to put them on, and then we got to put the FD back outside for a little bit because Lee needs to lift for his piece of crap Corvette, and he needs to put a starter in it because it's junk. So I had taken these off. I was going to sell them, so we pre-packaged these like we do a lot of our exhausts, so that way they are ready to go out the door in a prompt fashion. And what do you know, that it's exactly the same condition as when I boxed it up. And I'm actually very glad that these didn't sell, because out of the headers that I've had, I really like these headers, the way that they fit. They are older Hinson 1 3/4, but they have the shorter runs for the headers themselves, and the merges are a little bit higher up, so they don't drag anywhere near the ground. So we're going to run these, and unless they have some sort of power restriction, which I don't think that they will, we should be good to go. So let's get them thrown on. So these test fits are great for things coming back out, and I'm actually rather lucky because you can see the white marking pencil. I think it might be dark in the video. This header is actually hitting right there at the collector on the bell housing, because this is a quick time, I think, because it has that larger flange on it. It flares out a little bit more and it hits right there. So we will trim the bell housing to bolt up the header for the permanent install on the car. All right, so the headers are on. The pipes right off the headers are. I got some just junk O2 sensors to shove into this thing for the time being to seal it up. And we got the back end taped up, because that is as far as we are going to be able to go, because we are hitting on the trans mount. And again, this is why I wanted to go through and take a look at everything, because you can see that is hitting the trans mount, and that's how it's lined up. Because this car had a Hinson kit on it before with these headers. So this Y pipe was never designed with it. So I can definitely use those pipes, but this is going to have to get modified and maybe even just thrown in the trash, and we'll start from scratch on that. So we got the FD back outside, and man, this thing looks like a completely different car. You know, switching the wheels obviously goes a long way. And now you can see outside, completed look with the hood shop, which I am pretty happy with. I think the only kind of area I don't really like, I would have liked to have gotten this a little bit closer, and seeing how quickly it dropped off there. I kept a piece or two that we had cut out, and I may have Josh go back through and just weld that back in place. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the overall look here. You know, it's nice to get the car back outside and just kind of get a look. You know, even having it on the ground with the lift and everything, it you know, kind of obstructs the view. So it's really cool to be able to walk around it and see kind of the more or less the completed vision for the exterior with the wheels back on it. This is basically it. So very happy with how it's looking here, and I'm happy that we were able to make a decent amount of progress with the car itself as far as getting the hood cut. We got the headers back on. Now we know what we're dealing with as far as that goes. Next time we get the car inside, we're going to be working on the rear end of the car. I touched base at the beginning of the video. We have the Explorer 28 spline IRSs. I picked up 2 of them, at the local LKQ lot up in Baltimore area. And we have the axles, we have the whole kit from Ronin Speedworks, which is very, very nice. Same thing that we got the same place we got the subframe from. And we're going to be working on that because before the car goes to get wired, I want to get a pinion angle set and get the rear end set up so that way we can get a measurement for the drive shaft, because drive shaft shop does not have this subframe transmission rear end combo measurements on file, so we're going to have to provide them with the measurements for it. So that's going to do it for the FD for this video. We got more good progress coming in the next video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.